Welcome back to my Python tutorial. Today we're going to be over data types and comments, simple data types. So some simple data types you have strings, ints, floats. Later we'll get to, I'll put a star, lists, and arrays. There's some other ones you can use, but strings, ints, and floats are the ones we're going to focus on. Those are the ones you're going to use mainly. If there's other data types you need, you can look them up in Python docs. This is just a simple overview. So anyway, a string. What is a string? A string is a sequence of characters. Characters as in letters in text, or exclamation marks, or asterisks, or whatever you want. So string is encased in either apostrophe, so hello world, or in quotation marks, hello world. There we go. The thing about strings is you can have both. In most languages, it's only in quotation marks, and if I want another quotation mark, I have to do / quotation mark. You do not have to do that in Python. You can do apostrophe, quotation, hello world, quotation, apostrophe. I'm going to open a new IPython notebook. This is still my stellar simulation thing. I need to change that, so let's go to data types. I want numlock on and comments. So here we'll have string 1 equals hello world. String 2 equals quotes hello world. String 3 equals apostrophe quote hello world quote. And then we'll do the opposite for string 4, which is quote apostrophe hello world apostrophe. So let's do print string 1 print, string 2 print. And this is how you output data, by the way, is by the print command. I'm going to do an input-output tutorial later. String 4, which I'm actually going to release ahead of this one. So if we print all these, you can see the first two equate to each other. Quotes, apostrophes doesn't matter. Second one, because we have the quotes on the inside, hello world is in quotes, and third one, and the fourth one, because the apostrophes on the inside, we have apostrophes around it. Strings can be, there's also some special characters, like, let's see, if I put, well, first let's do concatenation. So if we do print string 1 plus string 2, that adds the two strings together. We do print string 1 and then special character plus /n, that's a new line character. So that'll give us a whole new line. So if we do plus quote /n plus string 2, you'll now see they're on separate lines. If we do print /t plus string 1, the /t is a tab character, so that'll give it a tab. There's a bunch of other special characters, you can look those up, and this is just a quick overview. There's a bunch of also string functions. I won't go into all of those because you can see them on the Python documentation for whatever you need, but two I'm going to go over are find and rfind. So a string is actually a list of characters. So every item in the string has an index value. So like, it starts at 0. So this capital H is 0, E is 1, L is 2, L is 3, O is 4, and so on. So if we do print str1 5, oh, I don't want that in quotes because that'll print out the literal string. You can see it's a space because right there is our space. If we do it as 4, we get the O. You can also do what's called slicing. So you use a colon for that. So if I do 4 colon, that's what that does is that slices from index 4 all the way to the end. So you can see it's O world. If I do colon 4, that slices from the beginning to 4. So it's 8, it's hell. But if I do 2 colon 4, it starts at 2, it goes all the way to 4. So it's LL. Now this ending index is not inclusive, because you'll notice 4 was O, it did not print out the O. It only went the 2 L's, so it went from spot 2 to spot 3, not including spot 4. This can also be used for lists and arrays, we're going to go over that later. Another helpful, let me get that back. Another helpful function is, it's not a string function, but it's used for lists, arrays, and strings, is len, length. So if I do len string 1, gives me 11. Well, if we look here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 characters. Now to find an rfind, which I talked about. So if we do string1 dot find t, it's going to give me -1. -1 means it could not find it. If I say capital H, it gives us 0 because capital H is at the 0th position. If we say W, lowercase w doesn't exist, it's case sensitive. Uppercase W is 6 because it's at the 6th position. rfind, see now that finds the first occurrence. So if I say O, it gives me 4 because the O is at the 4th spot. Now if we do str1.rfind O, this is the first occurrence from the end of the string. So it gives me 7 because in the 7th slot we have another O. Now next, well, one final thing to convert. So say we have int var equals 7. Print int var plus string 1. We're going to get an error because int var is an integer. str1 is a string. The two can't go together. So to cast the integer as a string, you do str, then parentheses, put the integer in that, and now 7 is a string. It can be concatenated with another string. So next we're going to talk about integers. So int var equals 7 again. You can add integers, so int var equals 7 plus 3, print int var 10. It's just an integer, it's a normal number. To cast things, so if we have float var equals 7.9, and when we print float var, we get 7.9. A float is a number with a decimal place. We'll go over that in a second. If we print int, just like casting to a string, but it's int instead of str, float var, we get 7. It doesn't round, it truncates. So it just chops off the decimal point. If you want to round, you do float var plus 0.5. So if it's above or equal to 0.5, it'll bump it up, it'll round it to the next higher integer. If it's lower, it'll go to the lower integer because it's truncated. Floats, like I mentioned, float var equals 7.9, float var plus 0.5 equals, or float var equals that. And then we print float var, we get 8.4. It's just a number with a decimal place. You can add, you can subtract, you can multiply, that sort of thing. With numbers, so plus is add, minus is subtract, asterisk is multiply, divide is backslash. You have modulus, which is the percent sign. So what that does is if we have print 7 mod 3, it gives you the remainder because 7, so if we do print int 7 over 3, that's 2. So 2 times 3 is 6, remaining is 1. So mod gives you the remainder. So then finally we have comments. So a comment is something that's ignored by the code. So if I do a pound sign, this is a comment, it's not going to run anything. Print, this is a comment, and we're going to have the same line up here, but it's going to be a, if I take away this pound sign, it gets printed twice. If I put it in, it only gets printed once because it ignored that. Next thing is multi-line comments. So let's add a third one of these. Multi-line comments span multiple lines, just like what it sounds like. To do that, you do either 3 asterisks, you can see it turns red because in IPython it needs a multi-line comment, or 3 quotes. That's multi-line. We'll go with quotes for right now. Put 3 more. All this right here is red because it's not. It's a comment. It's not red. You can also just do, for a normal, this is a test. You can see this is a comment gets printed. This is a test also gets ignored. Strings, they're just in the code, they're not being printed or anything, are ignored. So the useful thing about this is you can use multi-line comments to your advantage. You can say str string equals, this is a test, let's get that to a lowercase h, of a multi-line string. And then if we print out string, you can see it keeps that new line character right in there, and it gives you, this is a test, new line of a multi-line string. So that's comments, that's strings, that's floats. So next time, I've already recorded the video, but we will be going over conditional statements.